Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Minecraft here with game number 4 between the Blue Terran player, Empire.Kas, up here in the top right corner, and his opponent, Acer.Nerchio, which is also known as Acer.Nerchio, as that's his current team, who is in the bottom left corner. This map is Daybreak, quite a long map, also a single-player map. I have casted a decent amount of games now on it. It looks like a number of tournaments are now adopting it. It is quite the macro map. As with many other tournament maps. And, people may ask, like, I don't know if you look at the ladder and if you look at kind of the trends of StarCraft 2, maps have been getting bigger and have been getting, basically just bigger, but also less, like, cheese-friendly, like, for example, these neutral supply depots to prevent being walled in as a Zerg player. And people may ask, like, why is that the case? Like, isn't StarCraft on small maps also StarCraft? And it's like, yes, it is StarCraft, but the reason that tournaments aim for these huge maps are twofold. The first is that it helps stop cheesing. Now, there is kind of an element of irony here, actually, as a lot of these big maps, because it's so good at stopping cheesing, because they're so big and so hard to cheese on, it actually makes people feel super safe against cheese, and then therefore they don't check for it, or they do builds that are really risky against certain types of cheese. So it actually sometimes encourages cheese to do these big maps. But in general, it actually does reduce the amount of cheese that you are able to commit successfully, and it makes it much more difficult to pull off in general. And the second reason for it is it creates much longer games, and longer games in general are much better for spectators and casters like me, so that you can watch kind of like huge games, and people can develop to late game tech, because late game tech is really exciting. And it's also worth noting that despite the fact that they've gone to these huge maps, it's not like you see every game going to like this huge base standoff where people don't really do anything all game. As there's still plenty of 2 base pushes available on these maps, it just makes them a little bit harder, and just kind of different kinds of tactics involved on these sorts of situations. And of course, yeah, I would say just in general allows you to pursue different kinds of tech paths. You're able to get a stronger economy going, and do multiple tech paths, and get High Templar and Colossus, or as a Terran go for, I don't know, mech style play or something, which maybe isn't possible on a smaller map. That sort of thing, which is definitely more exciting to see from basically any sort of spectator's perspective. Looks like he is in fact going to be aiming for a Reactor Hellion build. Looks like that drone is going to escape with its life just a little bit longer before that Marine takes it out, as long as with his Marine buddy. Oh, and looks like... Oh, okay, the original Marine was going to get it. I was wondering if the other Marine was going to kill Steel right there. Now, he actually has not started his reactor, so it's possible he's not going to be aiming for Reactor Hellions. And, that would allow him actually to get a little bit faster. Well, the command center will be about the same, but... to commit less to those Hellions will allow him to commit more to something else, maybe more Marines and tanks right away, as opposed to getting any sort of Hellions. Actually, you know what? Looks like he's probably just going to be getting maybe siege tanks off of that factory, or maybe just one Hellion. Remains to be seen exactly quite yet. Oh, Starport. Oh, Banshees. Okay, so he's going to be going for Banshees. He's going to be going for 1 base Banshees. He does knock out the second gas, so he's not going to be going for Cloak. So he's just going to go for 1 Banshee and see what kind of damage he can deal. As if Nerchio does not get an additional Queen, a 3rd Queen, and connects his 2 bases, it can be kind of difficult to deal with Banshees, as you can use the Banshee to pick off drones, and a single Banshee does in fact beat a Queen in combat. Looks like that drone died for the Overmind, I suppose? Yeah, Overmind. Or Kerrigan, depending on how you look at it. I guess the Overmind isn't really in charge of the Swarm anymore. But, I don't know when this battle's being played. I guess, I don't know. Well, we'll have to kind of see in the heart of the Swarm exactly what kind of direction we go with that. Oh, wow, that's a bad supply block. So he did just finish his Banshee attack, but look at that. The supply block is going to be happening for a full 15 seconds, so his Banshee's going to be even more delayed. Looks like he is going for a double command center behind that Banshee. Now, if Nerchio aimed for some sort of Baneling all-in, actually, especially after taking out these Marines, he would actually be able to deal a ton of damage right here, and possibly even kill his opponent. But of course, he doesn't actually know that his opponent is going for the double command center build. And I think that's even an earlier double command center he did in the other game, game 1. Yeah, game 1. Okay, so it looks like a reactor is now going down for the barracks. That is not going to go onto the factory or anything like that, as it's a little late for reactor Hellions, unless he was aiming for some sort of mech style. Banshee is now on its way. It is going to arrive obviously before Spire Tech, as the layer hasn't even started, and it's only 6.5 minutes into the game. But I don't think it's really going to do any additional damage. Looks like, yep, Nerchio did in fact get that 3rd Queen. Queen's going to plant the creep tumor right there, so the Banshee's going to arrive, find probably 2 queens, and just go ahead and back off. It's probably going to get maybe 1 or 2 drones before it has to head off. But you know what? It'll allow him to clear the... it allows him to clear the watchtowers. And one thing that people don't really talk about is getting that solitary Banshee right here actually provides you a decent amount of map control as a Terran player, as the Zerg player doesn't really get any anti-air units until they get Mutalisks, and as we see, Nerchio actually avoids Mutalisks, so in general it actually just provides him with anti-air, and against one Banshee, I mean, you could fungal it, but you'd have to fungal it multiple times and drop Infested Terrans, which is a lot of energy for Infestors, and on top of that, it's possible the Banshee can focus down an Infestor during the same time as well. Unlikely, but possible. Now, actually, these 2 queens are going to waddle on down. He's going to deal a good amount of damage, however, to this hatchery, which is going to make it easier to pick off later with some sort of drop or something like that. Looks like a second Banshee is actually going to go on the way, as it's been seen that Empire.Kas likes his Banshees without Cloak there. I do like not getting Cloak, as Zerg players do have relatively cheap access to cloaking in general. As, looks like these queens are actually going to be out of position to really defend this base. There was another queen right there, but I think... Oh, okay, so he is actually going to target down the queen. I don't think that's a very good move. Oh, no, a second Banshee is going to come in and be able to help finish out that queen real quick right there. And able to save both Banshees. These drones are going to take a lot of damage right now. This queen is going to move it. He's going to target the hurt Banshee, most likely. But he really needs to get these additional queens up. They are now up. He's going to want to transfuse that queen real quickly right now. Oh, not able to transfuse that queen in time. That's very unfortunate for him, as these Banshees are dealing a lot of damage. Look at that, 5 kills, 2 kills on these Banshees right now. He's also missing a large number of inject larvas right now, as this hatchery is not currently injected. It is going to get injected right now. Lair Tech is on the way, probably going to be aiming for Infestor Tech, if I had to guess from the previous games, as it looks like they are kind of sticking with their favorite builds right now. These Banshees are going to move in, by the way, and take out, it looks like 2 additional drones. However, he is going to lose one of his Banshees right there, which is basically going to end the vast majority of this Banshee harassment. Looks like a Spore Crawler is going to go up right here. That Spore Crawler is going to move into range of the Banshee. However, the Banshee is just going to move to the other side, and the Spore Crawler is just going to have to keep shifting. It's like musical chairs, or, I don't know, Kansas City Shuffle or something. Looks like that Spore Crawler is going to plant itself and scare away that Banshee. The Banshee is going to have to move around and target the other side. However, these queens will stop it from doing so. And I would say Nerchio should definitely commit to getting even more queens right now, as the additional queens will not just allow him to deal with those Banshees. Bad movement from Empire.Kas is going to lose that Banshee right there. I guess he was just hoping he could get it out, but was not the case. It did, in fact, lose that Banshee. But as I was saying, it also allows him to transfuse his hatcheries, which are already hurt, and transfusing hatcheries is quite important in this sort of situation, as you don't want to lose a hatchery to a relatively minor drop right there, as it can be quite devastating to the income of a Zerg player to lose your hatchery. Now, Empire.Kas, again, he's going for a very late stim pack. Look at that. Like, it's 11 minutes in the game. He does not have stim. Stim is actually, what, a full minute away from, or 2 minutes away from being completed. So he's got a long time before stim is actually going to be able to finish. But we've seen that Empire.Kas has been able to do somewhat effective pushes with his stim. This Overseer right here is going to reveal Lair Tech. Of course, he already saw it from the Banshee, so actually he was fine. Just fine with that Lair Tech. This Orbital Command is going to go ahead and move out after having provided SCV production for its buddies. That Overlord did explode, and a little bit of accidental targeting there, as he was trying to click on the bunker in order to salvage it. Now, okay, so we're getting a second factory, as well as, how many barracks are we at now? 5 barracks right now, so that's pretty good production right now for Empire.Kas, and he is in fact ahead of supply, so he should be in a pretty good position at this point in time. Looks like these Zerglings are going to go ahead and go do a little bit of a run-by right here. However, the command center was not quite landed yet, so those Zerglings are actually going to run out into those SCVs. The infantry are going to run into the main, and barely picks up this supply depot in time. However, won't be able to pick off that siege tank. That was a pretty good win for Nerchio right there, but really he actually gave up a lot of supply. Not sure I really agree with that run-by. I'm not sure why you'd run-by with that many Zerglings. It seems like you could run-by with a lot less Zerglings, and it looks like he's going to be going for an all-in Empire.Kas. What? I kind of question this decision. What is he doing? Is that an accident? Oh, that was an accident. He was just trying to transfer. Oh, wow. That was a lot of lost mining time there. That probably cost him 200 or 300 minerals or more. So he is actually just going to be going for a push right now. He does have stim, but he does not have combat shields. Now, moving on without combat shields is actually pretty bad for the Terran. I would actually say either Empire.Kas should aim to delay his pushes a little bit, or aim to get combat shield a little bit sooner. As combat shield is, I mean, 10 health is a lot for these Marines. Marines, and think about 10 health for each of those additional Marines in terms of how Zerg units deal damage, and you really recognize how important it is. Now, these Banshees are going to move out here. They're actually going to spot the Infestors, and they're going to go ahead and move back. They are going to get fungal down as well as targeted down. Ah, nice. Able to take out a Infestor there, though. However, the Siege Tank was able to pick off by those Roaches. We see that additional Roaches, your good sized amount of Roaches have been a mainstay of Nerchio's army. Roach Infestor Ling, something that's somewhat unique to Nerchio, as I haven't really seen too many Zerg players deal with that. However, they will not be able to move out against the sized Marine force unless he's able to get a really good fungal. Actually, there's a lot of Zerglings right there, and with a good fungal there and a proper engagement, it's possible he would be able to really engage it there. But look at Empire.Kas taking 2 additional command centers. I actually wonder if he's overstretching himself just a little bit, as if Nerchio was able to really see these and move out against them, he's able to deal a lot of damage. It looks like he actually is going to go ahead and move his Zerglings. Oh no, move your Zerglings just a little bit farther east. But looks like the 6th sense from Empire.Kas is going to recognize this coming, and his Marines are going to be in position to be able to deal with these Zerglings right here, as Nerchio is going to have to turn around right there. So if Empire.Kas is able to really hold these, I think it's really funny that these players actually like talking to each other so much from this particular Gigabyte Cup. I suppose, oh, looks like nice little counterattack here is going to shift his positioning from his forces right there. It's going to be able to take out the vast majority of this little mainstay right there. However, the rest of his forces are going to move down and prevent any sort of further engagement right here. And Nerchio is going to want to try to escape with his Infestors right there, as losing his Infestors is going to be pretty devastating. Nice fungal, but he's not sliding out, and I actually questioned that decision as he went for that extra fungal. He did get another fungal off, but it's possible he could still be losing the Infestors. Nerchio is definitely going to want to kind of keep on sliding out of there. Additional Lings are going to move forward and rally in and deal some damage here. This hatchery is on the way, but that's going to be taken out almost immediately by Empire.Kas. Is going to have to be canceled right there. However, additional Zergling reinforcements are going to move in and take out the rest of these Marines. Looks like those Marines are all going to fall, as well as these siege tanks might fall as well. Nice fungal right there is going to trap those siege tanks in position and able to take those out as well. And it looks like Nerchio is actually going to keep on moving forward. Is he not going to be able to... Oh, nice, barely able to take out that last siege tank right there. And what if he's actually going to continue the aggression? Looks like it, because there are not that many forces right now. Empire.Kas is just going to have to rally additional forces out of his base. Fungal and 2 Marines there. I'm not really sure what the point of that was. But it looks like it's really not going to matter, as Nerchio is moving forward with a huge group of Zerglings, as well as a bunch of Infestors. And really, there's not much at all defending this right now, as I mean, Empire.Kas is... He's got good amounts of SCVs mining at all of his bases right now. But I mean, like, look at this. Like, Infestors are now going to move through and take out all the SCVs which are building these barracks right now, which is going to hurt his production even more. Hive Tech is now completed, and Ultralists are now on the way. And look at how many resources right now Nerchio is pooling. He's at 81 Harvesters, which is a great number. Now, fortunately for him, he was rallying his units past that Planetary Fortress. Looks like he's going to move in and try to take it out, however. Fungals on those SCVs are going to be quite effective. However, the additional armor from the Planetary Fortress is going to prevent a lot of the damage from those Zerglings right there. However, additional Zergling reinforcements are going to be able to move in, and actually looks like he will be able to take it out. Very nice job from Nerchio, taking out a Planetary Fortress with those Zerglings. No easy feat by any means. Where was that? Little counterattack right here is actually doing a lot of damage to these SCVs, as well as they are 2-2 Zerglings against 0-1 SCVs, dealing a ton of damage to those SCVs. Go to workers killed tab, we see that 39 workers have been killed this game, as actually almost all the entirety of the game, like tons of workers have been killed. I would guess some infested terrans are going to be coming out. However, no, looks like he's going to rely primarily on the fungals to deal with the Marines, as well as, oh no, some of the infested terrans are in fact going to be coming out, as well as the complete surround from those Zerglings should be able to deal a lot of damage to the Planetary Fortress, and it looks like it will be able to take it out. Look at all those infestors right now. Alright, so we see chitinous plating. I never know how to pronounce that word. When I was younger, I used to call it chitinous plating, and chitin, armored chitin. Oh, I guess it's called carapace, but... Oh, looks like that infestor's going to die, unfortunately. Bad control from Nerchio there, losing that infestor, but just that one. Or maybe more. But Empire.Kas is actually in a huge amount of trouble right now. But anyway, as I was saying, when I was younger, I used to call it chitinous plating, or chitin, armored chitin. And I now know that is in fact incorrect. But I still sometimes say that as like my first reflex as a result of saying that earlier. So it is chitinous plating. I am saying that right. And look at all those forces moving in. The Zerglings are squashing. Turso Impa. I'm not sure if that's a comment to the previous game about, you know, how Nerchio was complaining about losing that game after destroying so many SUVs early game from Empire.Kas. But 7 Ultralists were on the way, so Empire.Kas had definitely lost that game. And Nerchio basically found the right timing. That was almost July Zerg-like, the way he was able to keep streaming units in and just deal additional damage to Empire.Kas. But he ended up pulling out, able to take out all those bases with actually just Zerglings, which is incredibly impressive. Like, it's so rare that you can see Zerglings take down a planetary fortress on their own. But it looks like he was able to do that, and his good amount of infestors with his lings and his roaches into Ultralist tech has served him well so far, as the series is now tied up 2-2, and we're moving on to game number 3. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. I'm definitely excited to see exactly what these players are going to cook up in game number 5 rather. Is PGR Milncraft signing off.